All right, everybody, this is Sam Taggart with the DDD Podcast, and I'm here with a very special guest. He is the CEO and founder of SVG, which
Storm
is
Ventures Group.
Storm Ventures Group. Has a long, rich history of door-to-door, which is awesome. You built a $173 million in revenue over 13 years in chasing storms, right? Basically doing restoration, insurance.
A lot of roofing, insurance restoration, general contracting, you name it.
That's
Post-hurricane, post-hail.
So now, and you're also the founder of the Win the Storm conference,
Win the Storm
right?
conference.
And that's coming up in March.
So March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, 2018. Yeah, so we're 60 days out.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've got a booth there. Super
You're
excited
there?
to be there. Yep. So one of basically the thought leaders of the storm and restoration groups.
Well, we call it the insurance restoration.
Restoration.
The sophisticated name.
The sophisticated
is the we like to call it the sophisticated name, not storm chase, but the insurance restoration industry.
Cool.
Which this year is a $300 billion industry.
It's awesome.
And just last year was $100 billion, and so you can see it's growing exponentially due to, and more or less climate change. Whether you believe in global warming or not, it's definitely climate change is real.
It's real. It's happening.
There's more hailstorms, more tornadoes, more hurricanes, and it's growing exponentially.
Yeah, so I'd love to dive into kind of back to 1999. You're this.
1999.
Yeah, tell me how you got into this whole door-to-door, like.
Yeah, well, 98, so I started to put a book about the whole experience called Win the Game. Kind of goes Win the Storm. But 1998, big hailstorm hit Minnesota. I was born and raised in Minnesota. I went to the military right after high school, did 3 years overseas, came back, got the Army College Fund, so go to college, got my undergrad in marketing, then I got my MBA in marketing. Then I went and worked 3 years for corporate America, Ecolab, which is a big $2.5 billion publicly traded company downtown St. Paul. And, spent 3 years, running around North America, launching products, working with their engineers, their chemical business. Yeah. Creating sales programs for distributors, really getting into the marketing and sales, which was a fun job, don't get me wrong. Post-MBA, I had a travel budget for, I was in my mid-20s, late 20s then. I traveled North America, trained sales reps, do marketing campaigns. I had a fun job. It was corporate America. 70,000 base coming out of B school ain't bad. You think it's a lot.
In comparison to probably your friends, you were on top of the world.
It was the dream job.
Yeah.
But when you have, I had 40, 50 grand in graduate school loan debt. I had 30 grand in credit card debt. And when you're a W-2 wage earner, Uncle Sam takes about a third.
Yep.
So you might, 65 might sound good on paper. You're really taking home 35 or 40. Yeah. And when you got a lot of college loan debt and all that kind of stuff. So while I was there towards that end of 3 years, the romance of this vision of the perfect job that I worked so hard for was slowly coming undone. Yeah. And I realized I need to do something else to make real money. And so I didn't want to quit my job. I just wanted to find a part-time opportunity to make some extra money. So sure enough, this big hailstorm hit. These guys from Texas and different, Colorado came into Minnesota. It was a big hailstorm. It hit like 7 zip codes, real high-end homes. Everybody's getting new roofs, new cedar shake roofs, all this stuff. Well, if you're not in the business, you don't really know what that means.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of weird, but I met these guys out, and I'm like, oh yeah, we're here to, replace all these roofs, yada, yada, yada. We're making all this money. They're buying drinks for everybody. I'm like, wow, these guys they're high rolling. Are they making some money? What is this all about? Maybe I can do this part-time. I was going to quit my job. Yeah. Part-time, and I'd go out, and so sure enough, I went out 2 evenings a week and Saturdays. Started learning about this game, knocking doors. And really I just ran around with a guy in his truck for a couple of days, watched what he did, and I went, man, this isn't hard. Yeah. Insurance company's paying for this stuff. They're just showing the homeowner how to, this is how you file a claim, this is how you got to meet the adjuster out, you're basically getting a new roof, siding, gutters, yada, yada, for free, minus the deductible. Back then it was $500 or $1,000 for a deductible for a new $20,000 project. And I thought, wow, that ain't selling. That's order taking. Yeah, that's for me. I came from me. We were hardcore at Ecolab. You had to go out and sell the plant engineer, the safety officer, do a 3-day. This is how to use our products. You got to earn that business. I was like, I couldn't believe it. So I still didn't quit my job. I just went out, moonlighted on the job for about 6 months. And long story short, I made just working part time, not knowing what the hell I was doing, but I knew how to sign those deals. Yeah. I learned this real quick: how to get on that property, how to get on that roof inspection, and how to sign that contingency agreement. Not a very hard thing to do, actually. But I was real good at it. I got good at that real quick. I didn't understand construction per se, but I learned how to sign those deals. And so I moonlighted on the job. I think I made 70,000 sales commissions, working part-time with very little training, mind you. And I thought I couldn't help that winter to think, well, man, what if I did this full time?
Yeah, it's like one of those things like,
I just made that.
I'm not even 2 feet in.
Yeah,
Like,
I just made that part time.
my toes dipped in. Yeah.
Made that part time, not knowing what I was doing. And after 6 months, you learn a lot through trial and error. And then I made the decision that winter to quit. It was probably the best decision I made in my life, to quit my job, my W-2 I took that security blanket away. And now I felt like I had something really to prove, because everyone thought I was nuts. They're like,
your dad's
mom,
like, wait, you're going to go.
Yeah, the mom, the girlfriend, the whole family's like, wait a minute, you don't know how to screw in a light bulb, Anthony. You're going to go sell roofs for a construction company, or sell construction services, door to door, and leave a cush post-MBA job that you went to all those years of schooling for? And I'm like, yep. And I did. And then probably because of that risk I took, I felt like I had something to prove. So it was I call that the first full year that I really committed to the industry. I sold, I went out and I hustled, and I sold, I worked sun up to sundown, but I sold $3.2 million, which is more than some small companies.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's more, and anybody that doesn't know the roofing space, that's top 1.1%.
That's pretty big numbers.
Yeah, that's
I had a couple little guys underneath me that knocked doors, you call them canvassers. I was smart enough to hire a canvasser, because one man, one woman can only sell so many jobs. When you're prospecting, you're not doing what? You're not signing deals, meeting adjusters, filling out contracts. You're prospecting. So if you can limit your prospecting time, I learned real quick. Hire a canvasser, I limit my prospecting time. I'm going to sign more deals.
Yeah, you're more in front of, because at the end of the day, what makes money is being in front of.
Yeah, they had me on. I had 2 full-time canvassers, not full-time, but 3/4 time. So I woke up on a Saturday, I had 6 inspections. I didn't wait for the company to hire them. I just did it intuitively to make more sales, make more money. But so I hit 3.2. I made close to 400. Now, when you go from making 65, I think I was 65 base at Ecolab. When you go make 65 base to 400,000, and what I call 1099 independent contractor money, it means you kept all your money. Yeah. And you pay tax at the end of the year after you offset all your deductions, but you're keeping all your money. Yeah. That's a huge difference than making basically 40 a year after taxes. I mean, I bought a new house.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I bought a new car.
Was it gone?
I got the first Escalade with TVs in it. I bought the $500 pool stick. I spent a lot of money because I was young and having fun. But it was a life-changing experience for me. And I thought, wow, this industry is great. And I got real excited about it.
You got hooked on the cocaine of sales. That's what I call it. It's like the commission of it's a drug. You're like, I need another sale.
It was definitely a life-changing experience. So at that point I started this, the machine starts working, and thinking, I'm an entrepreneur. I need to figure out how to become an owner. And I stayed with that company another year as a sales manager, actually. I did stay out with them another year and a half, and built them up in 3 states from doing $5 million a year typically to $30 million. Wow. I brought my friends in, recruited. During this time, what I noticed was there a lot of stuff missing in this industry. For training, I'm like, man, everything we're doing, we're learning on our own. We're learning as we grow. It's like you bump in your head to learn, how do I deal with State Farm on this? How do I learn how to use a set of everything I learned, we learned the hard way, because there was it's not like there was a book or training or anything you could pick up and learn this industry. It didn't exist. And so even back then I was thinking, wow, man, this industry really needs some finesse and some education, something to teach these guys how to do what we do.
100%.
And so, naturally I outgrew that company. Like a lot of you sales guys end up outgrowing your companies. You become the entrepreneur. I was one of those guys. I think I got slighted, $10,000 on something. But the truth is I probably made it up in my head. Yeah. Sometimes we make things up so that we can go out and start our own business. Man, they owed me some money, man. They probably did owe me something, but they actually, for the most part, it was a great company to work for. I learned a lot. But I made something up to leave. A lot of these guys do that, and then oh man, that's a horrible company. But they try to make up psychologically just so they can leave the company. All the time. So I started my own business with another top sales guy. Probably the worst thing you could do in a construction business, guys, is team up with another top sales guy.
Yeah, you need an ops guy.
And neither of us had any production experience, but we know how to sell. We knew how to train salespeople. So we built this massive sales team of our friends and even some family, yada yada. And just, skyrocketed. Literally in the first year and a half of being in business, went to $25 million in sales. Wow. Which is unheard of for a new company. And it was, we learned production the hard way. There's no book you can pick up. This is how you run 30 residential jobs a week, right?
And you're like,
and you had a problem. This back when you had whiteboards, you had jobs coming in, sometimes 30, 40 jobs coming in a week, little magnets. Then have a problem repair board. So we ended up learning production the hard way, which is a great way to learn, trial by fire. We ended up hiring in an office, a roofing production manager, a siding production manager, a miscellaneous trades production manager, all in the office. Wow. And then one guy from college just to manage the problem repair board. There's so many problems. And then we ended up hiring 5 QCs in the field, split the video. And so we learned through because we had to, or we would have died.
Yeah, so I want to focus a lot of this podcast on scaling a business. Because right now, your whole focus of your business is teaching entrepreneurs how to scale their business, how to train their
So hopefully
people.
they don't have to go through that pain.
Exactly. No, because you went through it. You did 13 years of trial, error, fail.
I remember production managers up in our office crying at midnight because it was so stressful to get through that hump.
Yeah.
And we lost a few. I mean, it was painful. It was a painful time. But once you get the system down, I was like, man, now I know how to run high volume production, have the right key people in place. What do they do? When do they call Mrs. Smith? How do they drop materials? How do you make sure the right drip edge shows up on time? All this little stuff you learn through, how does your order sheet look? You start learning how to systematize that so that those problems don't happen again in a production cycle, in your production system. And then, of course, you have a whole new set of problems later on called collections. So it's sell, build, collect. You aren't doing enough in sales, or if you are, you get another set of problems called production. And then finally, the last set of problems usually for contractors in the collection area,
really?
So called sell, build, collect. Yeah.
So let's kind of fast forward. Now you've branched into more of the training and events and really kind of being a thought leader in the industry, just because you probably saw a hole in the sense of like, man, every other person that's going and starting an insurance restoration business has to just start from nothing, and they just have to kind of do the whole trial error fail.
So through that whole experience, even as a sales guy, or even as a sales manager, back as a sales manager, there was no tools, resources, book to go to. How do you build a sales team? How do you teach guys how to do this? How do you teach someone how to meet an adjuster? I mean, it was kind of a new industry back. I mean, it's now becoming a very well-known industry called the insurance restoration industry. 20 years ago, it was storm chasing. It's a bunch of mom and pops running around, getting lucky, knocking doors, not really anything systematized. But, when you start thinking about $300 billion of insured losses, you have a real industry on your hands.
Yeah.
And somebody has to, at some point, consolidate and bring some stuff together in this program, which is why I wrote Win the Game, the book. That's why we do the conference, start bringing some of these players together, and then the virtual training. I wish I would have had it back then. But the virtual training really put that together to help fill in those gaps. Here's how you teach a salesman how to knock a door, how to sign a deal. What is a deal? What is a cancellation term on a deal? How do I use a set of build contracts correctly? How do I meet an adjuster and not act like a public adjuster so I don't get sued, but still get the job done?
Yeah.
All these little nuances someone had to spill out. So we started creating we write about it in a book, but nobody reads anymore. Nobody reads a book. They skim through it these days. They're always got they're too ADD to read a book. So we created the virtual training platform so that owners and managers could literally push their people through, and I say force train, because really it's force them to train to learn the industry step by step, starting from the interview process itself to the first door knock, to the first adjustment, to all those things that took me over. I learned the hard way. I'm like, man, if I would have had this back then, not just the sales guy, but the manager, and then how do you hold those people accountable? And how do you make sure they go through the performance testing? And how does the owner hold his production manager and accounts receivable manager accountable to learn stuff so that the production cycle goes better, or the accounts receivable gets collected faster? We have it's not just sales; it's sell, build, collect.
Yeah.
It's the whole cycle. We call it the 3 pillars of success.
So walk me through. Let's take a company that's just trying to figure it out on its own, and then maybe a company that found some kind of structure and system through the university that you guys have in this virtual training. What stories or things have you seen over the last few years?
First of all, every entrepreneur there wants to grow. I mean, you hear the stories. Hey, man, we're going to do millions this year. I'm going to sell millions. I'm going to sell, my company did 10 million last year. The truth is, look, some guys, and I was the same way, you get lucky on a storm, okay? And you do 7 to 10 million. But to maintain that when a storm cycle is gone through retail, or to do it on multiple storms or multiple offices, you hit a certain point where you just can't grow anymore. It's called the bell-shaped curve. You can only hire so many salespeople. Yep. Certain managers are going to quit and leave and go start their own business. Certain sales guys are going to go over here and go over there. And you really have to have a system in place where you have the ability to recruit, train any of these key managers and any salespeople at any given time.
And duplicate.
Not just on a storm. It's very important after a storm because you got to hire 10 people right away. You got to hire all these managers right away, or you won't scale and capture that revenue that's out there. But even after a storm, you have to have this ability in place so that you can maintain that revenue and profit model even after a storm, and recreate yourself when people do leave or bad things do happen. And that's what happens in construction. A lot of blue collar, a lot of bad loyalty, a lot of this or that. The entrepreneurs who have a system in place to always recruit and train, sleep better at night than the ones that don't. And the ones that understand that training, the only way to truly scale in this industry is to train effectively. You got to train your people.
No, and that's like what I'm.
Money's not going to do it. Look, I've seen a lot of guys get a lot of money.
Yeah.
You get it from the insurance companies. They run out of money. They don't train their people properly. They have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars of liabilities because they don't have certain things like the right set of terms in their build contracts, or they're filling their build contracts out incorrectly, or their sales guys aren't trained how to fill them out correctly. So many stupid things happen just at the kitchen table when guys are contracting a job.
100%.
Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars of mistakes are created just right there. So all these little training nuances have an effect on the company's ability to scale.
Yeah, and it's just one more fire that the CEO, the entrepreneur, has to put out because they're sitting there like, oh shoot, we didn't even think of that little piece, and we didn't,
Right.
we didn't really have much time.
And if you're a new entrepreneur, look, a lot of these guys are new entrepreneurs that are starting out. They've never ran into that pain point.
Yeah.
And now they got 20 guys out there running around, knocking doors, filling out contracts, and they're doing it incorrectly, and they don't know until they get that $100,000 problem in their hands. Like, oh shit.
Yeah, and what's wild is like how many times a salesman, just like you're like, I was the top salesman, I'm going to go start my own roofing company, and then you get your face kicked in when you realize, oh wait, there's more than just selling. Like,
That's 80% of your entrepreneurs out there too.
yeah, exactly.
On our
And
side.
they're really good salespeople, but that doesn't mean they already have all the systems in place, all the organization, the operation, the finance, like, and they don't realize that. So that's like one of the biggest holes that I'm trying to fill at the door-to-door university is like, at least let me take off how to train your salespeople, how to recruit, sell, and lead piece of the business. So
Which,
that
by the way,
you
is most
can-
important.
100%.
Because if you don't scale your, and we talk about this in a book, we talk about it in the virtual training. Look, if you don't know how to scale your revenue department first, none of that other stuff matters.
Oh, I've seen it over and over again. Guys that
matter.
spend 6 months making a business card,
Oh, yeah.
website, and it's like,
Website trucks,
Yeah.
hire these fancy managers and production managers, and they never scaled their sales department.
Yeah.
Meaning you have to have the ability to recruit, train a sales department, create revenue, convert leads to sales, and really systematize that revenue department, and then start focusing. Because guys are like, well, what should I do first, Anthony? Look, focus all your energy on your revenue department, master that, and then move over to production, called the 3 pillars of success, and then move over to collections. You're not going to do them all. You can do most in your revenue department, a little bit of production, and you scale through as you grow through the other areas. But you can't do it all at once. You got to bite off little pieces at a time.
So what are some of the practices that you've seen when you're, analyzing companies that you guys service now, but also when you ran yours to really scale your business fast? Like, what are some of the things that you...
Well, we've got, in the last year alone, we have 350 clients out there that use our virtual trainings. They're companies. So there's actually a lot more users because the average user has 5 users per company. Some have 50. We have companies like Crest Exteriors or Collis Roofing. These are 50, 60, 70 million dollar companies or 20 million dollar companies that have like 40 or 50 users. We have guys just started in their basement where their girlfriend's doing the accounting and hiring their 2 friends.
Yeah.
And they use my program with 5 users. We have sales guys that just buy the 1 user version of our program, which we don't often advertise, but I want to help everybody. So if there's a sales guy, his owner doesn't want to get the training for him, he goes, hey man, my owner's not getting the training, but I want your training, then we have an unadvertised 1 user option. They have to pay the year in full. It's like $199 a month or $23.88. It's not that expensive, $23.88 for the year. And that allows that salesman now to access all that training. Problem is he's getting all the manager training too, so a lot of those guys become entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Whereas when the owners buy it for their sales guys, only the sales level courses are seen by the salespeople, and the management courses, key management courses, and owner level courses are for the owners. So they're able to control the training that way.
Yeah. So what things like have you seen people go wrong with, like as far as running their business? Like biggest pain points that you're like, man, if I could just tell every business owner that's trying to scale their business to just not do this or do like.
I think if you look in the construction industry and restoration, 80% of the problems revolve around the lack of training on a sales individual. Because believe it or not, the salesperson is the one contracting the job 9 times out of 10 the kitchen tables.
Yes.
They're knocking the doors is pretty rudimentary. It's a very important part to create revenue. But when you sit down with a set of build contracts now, so take this guy who's delivering Domino's Pizza 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
He learns how to knock doors, goes through a training program. He meets an adjuster, and actually he's got a set of insurance paperwork 10 pages long, and it could be an $80,000 claim. This is 3 weeks later. He's got a $40,000 check to pick up, and how he fills out those build contracts to that customer can determine that job's profitable or not profitable.
Yeah, and you could
And
also.
do you know how many guys are winging it and giving it to the guys going, here's how you fill it out, pick out colors for the roof, go pick up the check, And they never sat at the kitchen table with them. It's crazy.
But what's wild is I think a lot of people underestimate the amount of touch points that now need to take place because it wasn't done right the first time.
Yeah.
It's like now you have to have admin people or revisits, and they're not home, and they're at work, and you're trying to collect.
Well, the guy drops the wrong price in a contract. He forgets to collect the deductible. You're talking about, or he writes the wrong language in a contract, which holds the company responsible to redo the entire gutter system or repaint all the fence or all this stuff because he didn't look closely enough at the insurance paperwork. So a lot of this stuff is very, it's time-consuming training for the owners or managers if they don't have like a virtual training program to force train their guys through.
100%.
Otherwise, that owner or that manager would have to sit down at 3 or 4 sits at the kitchen table. This is how you do it. And that's how some of them do it, the better ones. But let's be honest, guys. There's only a few of you doing it. A lot of guys are winging it as they go because they literally hire 5, 10, 15 sales guys after a storm. I don't give you an owner, manager, even another field trainer. You can't literally be in all those places at once.
Yeah,
so a lot of mistakes happen in that growth because of the lack of training.
Yeah.
And because of the speed to market.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
And I think that's what, I mean, just in any door-to-door sales, it's all about getting the market, it's like finding the low-hanging fruit before other people find the low-hanging fruit. It's almost like a race to market.
Guys, it's a weird job in our industry because we're asking, we're looking for this magical sales associate that can 1 minute go out, knock a door, climb on a roof, take pictures, which is basically a blue-collar job, maybe measure, do all that, take pictures of the damage. And at the next minute, he's sitting down crunching numbers on a $100,000 or $150,000 or $1 million insurance claim. What's actual cash value? What's depreciation? What's PWI? What do I use for my contract price?
Yeah.
What can I say at that kitchen table?
Pizzas
But it's a very white collar. Now you got a very white collar type job.
Yeah.
So you're really asking us. We're trying to look for this individual that can do both, or train him how to do both. And it's not an easy person to find because it's almost like a right brain, left brain activity. One, hey man, smiling, looking good at the door, getting the door open, sign a deal. There's people that are really good at that. And then there's other people that are more left brain that are really good at sitting down, crunching numbers, divvying out which trades we're going to do on a contract.
Yeah.
And now you're talking about a left brain activity. So we're asking, a lot of these guys, to squish both those activities into one person, which is fine, but you need a whole lot of training to do that.
Yeah.
Because typically one person can be good at one or good at the other. Your best salesmen are good at opening doors, getting deals signed. Probably aren't the best at number crunching.
100%. 100%. But it's like they have to be able to do it.
In our industry, now some owners out there split out the activities, but I'd say 80% of them, that sales associate is doing both.
Yeah, and it's just being willing to I think also setting expectations when you recruit to say, hey, you got to be able to do both these things.
Yeah.
And setting good expectations up front, because a lot of times you probably have reps that are like, well, why do I have to do all this paperwork? I just thought I was a sales guy. And this,
when you recruit them, you don't tell them about all that stuff.
Hey
man, you make a lot of money. Just go knock a door and sign a deal.
It's like,
you don't know you got to meet the adjuster. They're crunching numbers. We you teach them in phases. We call it phase 1 and phase 2. But some of them really like it. There's guys that really enjoy doing that because that can lead to a lot more money for the sales associate if they learn that. But again, you're talking about a lot of training. It's a lot more than knocking doors is huge. There's so many other tasks that come into being a project manager, a sales field project manager for a roofing restoration company in a post-storm environment. You almost need a law degree, an engineering degree in some cases.
Yeah.
An appraisal degree. You need all these different things to make you a very effective person. So without that training, you can imagine how much liability is out there for some of these company owners.
Sure.
And really how the difficulty of retaining some of these guys that did come in thinking it's just knocking doors, signing deals, and start realizing, wow, I got to learn how to do all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But so it's a unique challenge in finding these people and training them in this type of industry.
Cool. So I've honestly appreciated this. This has been awesome, kind of diving into your space. Anybody that wants to know a little bit more about SVG, where can they find you? I guess where can they look you up?
Well, we're stormventuresgroup.com. That's our parent company name. That'll lead you to our. There's 3 major things we do. One is the conference, Win the Storm. www.winthestorm.com.
I'll be there.
Half the industry will be there. SVG University is a complete A to Z industry-specific virtual training program to train all your managers, your salespeople, all this stuff in the contracting industry. That's www.svguniversity.com. And then we got our contractor store page where you can get it's like LegalZoom for contractors. So contracts, forms, documents, build contracts, contingency agreements, pretty much anything you need paper-wise to launch, grow, or scale your company as a contractor. Estimating programs, all that kind of stuff is on our contractor store page. So that's our or paper product page or stuff you need to have this stuff as a contractor to launch, grow, or scale your company. So those are the three things. But that can all be found at stormventuresgroup.com.
Cool. No, that's awesome. Yeah, look them up out on Facebook. Win the Storm. Anybody in Storm Venture Group? Gary Vaynerchuk speaking.
Gary V, baby.
Yeah, some really cool things. So, no, I appreciate your time. This has been awesome. Thank you. Thank you for being on the show.
See you soon.